Trump just lost another one, and this is a big one. So here's the deal. Alina Habba, his former personal attorney and current acting U.S. attorney for New Jersey, has been disqualified. Yeah, let me break it down to you. Not only was she disqualified, but now you have a situation where the Virginia U.S. attorney was disqualified. Thus, the Comey and the Letitia James cases were thrown out. Alina Habba's cases that are working right now are going to get thrown out. So we're winning. Here's the thing you need to understand about the Trump administration. I've been telling people all year, which is they are not building the right proper procedures to get cases through. That's why they've been losing at 70% of the time in the lower court cases. And before any of you want to go there and say, well, the Supreme Court, blah, 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 the Supreme Court's only 1%, y'all. Supreme Court can't save them for everything. That's why they didn't even take on gay marriage, which would have been an easy slam dunk for all those conservatives to turn down. Why would they turn that down? Because they know darn well they are overwhelmed with everything as it is. Let me give you a case understanding of what this guy is up against. He already has 700 cases, okay? And that doesn't include the cases that are out there for immigration. He's had up to 700 cases for immigration. 225 of them have been ruled on according to Politico. And out of those 225, 25 of them were Trump-appointed judges. Oh, speaking back to Alina Habba's, there were 2 Bush-appointed judges out the 3, and all 3 of them said disqualified. So let's get back to this for a minute. So you got this immigration case of 700 cases, and 225 have already been lost. All right? Think about that. That means there's another 475 cases plus 700 cases of everything else. Over 1,100 cases. Supreme Court is cased up, and 99% of the cases are being handled by the lower courts. What does that mean? 677 judges, 97 or 94 districts, I keep forgetting which one, across 50 states. Now, all of those 677 lowercase judges are not on our side. But if we look at the last 44 weeks, oh baby, it is on. Because here's what's happened in the last 44 weeks. 70% of these cases that had temporary, permanent, state, and national injunctions and actual case readings have read our way. They read our way. He's been losing like a big dog, and he can't take everything up to the Supreme Court. And the main core structure, the foundation of the Trump administration is loyalty, not aptitude. How do we know? Because when he went to the courts to argue, him and Hegseth went to the courts to argue that transgender people should not be in the military. They presented evidence to show that transgender people should be in the military. And the judge was like, are you fucking kidding me? Bye. Gone. Done. When you have Trump, Reagan, and both Bush appointed judges saying no. When you have a deep Texas Trump appointed judge telling them you can't do that. You can't just gerrymander based upon race and put it in writing. Here's where they're being destructive. They basically are founded on loyalty, not aptitude, and because of that, they keep missing the very integral steps of the legal process. They think they're special and they can skip over it, and they're so incompetent they can skip over it. That's why you had 10 plus prosecutors from the Southern District of New York leave from Sisson, head of everything, on leaving out of that department. This year, they said no. That's illegal, because they were trying to do illegal stuff with Eric Adams, who also has the same attorney as Elon Musk, and they working deals to get immigrants out the door in New York and screw over immigrants. Oh no, it's bad. It's real bad for them. And the more and more they do this, some of you think, well, they're getting away with it. Why are they getting away with it? No, they're getting a weight for it. In other words, everything they're breaking is going to come back on them. See, here's the thing I think that's going to happen. Pam Bondi's going to jail, or only way she doesn't go to jail is turn state's evidence and roll over all her prosecutors. That's why prosecutors are leaving out of there in droves. They see it. They know it. They come out of there and do confidential interviews with the press saying, she's telling us and her people are telling us to break the law. And they are. And they're like, fuck the law. We don't care. We're going to do what we're going to do. And they're all going to go to jail. And here's the crazy part. If Pam goes to jail for them, I'd be surprised. I think she's going to roll on them. She's going to roll on them, and she's going to take down the rest of this whole process. So this is just the beginning. These two attorney generals are just the beginning. There's a lot of attorney generals that I've heard talking that said they keeping their heads down trying to keep out the fray. But let me tell y'all something. This is one hell of a fray. And this is one hell of a thing to do. They walked into a storm, into a double storm. And they're talking crazy to they're talking crazy to all of these judges. See, understand this. These judges, whether they're in the Supreme Court or lower courts, they're going to be here a lot longer than Trump's administration. And it's going to be that ass after Trump's administration. There's going to be so many congressional hearings. Why do you think they got hearings going on HEXF right now? Why do you think they posting up for Epstein, whether he releases it redacted or not right now? Because you know they got those files, whether he release them or not, it's getting leaked. I'm the first person to tell you that across social media, ain't I? Nobody else talks about that. It's not about when the files are coming out. It's a matter of, or if the files are coming out, it's a matter of when, because they're coming out legally or illegally. Because we that country, we do that sort of thing. We don't take that shit. We're going to go off and do what we're going to do. Now, here's the further thing that's going to happen with him with deconstructing all of the law. It's not over yet. Hang in there with me. It's going to get even better, because what's going to happen is all of these past cases are going to get relooked at and say, wait a minute, what did you just do in this deportation case? The deportation cases, oh my God, they got billions coming to them in cases across all these families this has happened to, including the young lady this past weekend who got on her way to Thanksgiving, Boston student, and they shipped her ass off to El Salvador after the judge said don't do it. Oh no, there is hell to be paid. Oh, it gets deeper. You ready? I got some more bombshells to drop on you. Oh yeah, so the top 3 things that are going to fuck them up in the department, DOJ, is going to be and I ain't even getting into the grifting with Trump, because that's a whole nother thing. That ain't got nothing to do with them directly, but here's the real stuff that's going to get them. The deportations, Elon and Doge breaking into all these departments and not letting the Congress into those departments. The one thing that the Democratic Party did do right, they did it excellently, and they showed up at those departments to get into the Doge departments that they were cutting. By law, every congressperson has right to access. You can't deny them access. Here's the other thing that happens. I want you to understand. Those detention facilities for ICE, that shit is going to put thousands of ICE people in jail, as well as people who arrested all of these the mayors and the congressional people. They tried to put, and a governor, you're going to try to arrest, a mayor and a congressional member? Oh no, you done fucked up. By law, they have the right to be there. By law, it's going to be their ass. Not to mention all the First Amendment rights that they got, right to free speech. They have just fucked up tremendously. They have walked into a shit show, and I don't see any way they're going to get out of that. And it gets better. It gets better. What does Doge and Elon know? Think about it. I'll give you a second. Elections. This election shit is coming out. All of you have been screaming to the top of your lungs, what about the election? Listen, I told y'all be cool. They're going to find this out. It's going to take time because they're in charge of the DOJ. But this is going to take time. But they're going to get these motherfuckers. They are in trouble. Not to mention all the broken protocol for national security, HEXF and Tulsi Gabbard's in trouble with, and everybody on that team who's on Signalgate. Oh, that ain't over yet. See, understand about our government. Our government is slow as hell, ain't it? Especially our justice system. But it's definite. It took years to get Nixon. I'm telling you, they will get these guys. Here's the other thing I want you to understand. As all of this stuff is breaking down, this is not going to be the first U.S. attorney. Oh, no. There have been 2. There are going to be several more, okay? There's U.S. attorneys in each state. Oh, there's some more attorneys that are going down. Now, 27 of those states, I believe, if I'm doing that right, are Democratic. So we ain't talking about that. But all this funny business they doing out of Texas, all this funny business they doing out of Ohio, out of Indiana, all this funny business in oh my God, in Florida. Oh my God, mami, oh no. All this funny business they pulling in Georgia, they coming for them. I've been saying this. If you look up Darren Monroe U.S. attorneys, I've been doing videos saying U.S. attorneys going to jail. They're going to jail. They're in trouble. This is more than a disqualification. Alina Abbas and the other U.S. attorney for Virginia, the one who showed up, tried to prosecute Letitia James and Comey. Keep in mind, the American Bar Association sued Trump twice. I believe they won twice. They won once at least, but they sued him a second time. They won the first time. I have no doubt that they'll win if they haven't won the second time. But understand this. Some people they're losing their licenses from Bondi down. They're losing their licenses. The thing that's happening to them after this is some of them are either going to go to jail or turn state's evidence. I believe Bondi, again, is going to turn state's evidence. If she's smart, she will. I don't think she's so much of a loyalist that she wouldn't turn on this boy. I think it's on and popping. Understand that what he's getting these people to do is pumping them up to be head and getting them in their head. He's a very good con artist, Trump is. But understand this, he's convincing them to go to jail and lose their license, like he did Giuliani. Now, Giuliani ain't a stupid person, but he certainly did sip that Kool-Aid, didn't he? He didn't think it was possible. Then there's people like his attorney for that porn star cover-up who went to jail. There are people, who lost everything off this, backing up Trump, even their families. Giuliani's family begged them not to go into this situation. Let me tell you, there are people going to jail. Now, the more and more they keep messing stuff up, the better the chances are that they're going to mess up and people can beat these cases, like Kilmar Aurel Garcia. He can beat this case. And there are other people who can beat these cases because they're literally trumped up cases that are fucking them over. But where you shouldn't be afraid, and understand this, if you're listening this far, be not afraid of what this chump-ass fool is doing because he's breaking the law. He's not getting away with it. He's getting away with it. So this is just the beginning of all of these people who are going to jail. Steve Miller going to jail. And what's interesting is Bannon thinks he's going to jail. I don't know for what. I'll be honest with you. I ain't going to sit there and say Bannon going to jail. I don't know for what. He ain't in the circle no more. But he got on stage and said, man, if we lose this election in 2026, we're going to jail. What are you going to jail for, Bannon? If you believe you're going to jail, hey, I'm inclined to believe you. But here's the thing. There's a whole bunch of people in that White House, in those circles, that are going to jail. They're getting jelly with it, okay? And here's the thing I really want people to understand. When I say people are going to jail, the only ones that ain't going to jail are the ones that turn state evidence. Steve Miller's going to jail. Tom Homan, who on camera in front of U.S. Marshals, undercover FBI agents, took $50,000, going to jail. There's a whole bunch of people going to jail. And ICE by the thousands going to jail. Why? Because they're on TV for all this shit, illegally doing it. I mean, first of all, they're breaking the law in general, but then you smashing around, beating up people, shooting stuff at priests, you going to jail. And you say, nobody will know. Yeah, they'll know. Because you coming up with a mask is foolishness. The problem with Trump is he thinks, and I want you to get encouraged knowing this, he thinks that he can break down a system that's been built for 250 years. They designed this shit to be slow, to go through processes in case a crazy motherfucker, whether they have orange heads or not, comes in and wants to tear the shit down like a tyrant. The thing that's been messing them up hasn't been the Democratic leadership, because they've been weak with the exception of the governors and attorney generals. The thing that's been messing them up hasn't been the people who have been fighting back against him. The thing that's messing him up is a 250-year built process and format that you just can't tear down. You can manipulate it all you want to, but there's only a limit to that manipulation. You got to understand, I keep telling y'all, it's patience in the process. Patience in the, I know you want them to go now, but the truth is you don't. You want patience in the process, because as soon as they dot their I's and cross their T's, he can take very little up to the Supreme Court. That's why he's losing by 70%, because our side is covering their bases. Their side is running around looking like a fucking chicken with his head cut off. They're doing the Chicken Little move, and that's why the courts be throwing out stuff like this. That's why they're saying, you crazy, what you doing? They're so busy listening to this guy out of fear, whether it be the fear of the MAGA mob or fear of what he could do to you politically. This man has a limit. And it just seems like a lot of these people don't grasp and say, hold on, man. He can't do this. Hold on, man. We can't let this happen. Not just for the sake of your moral consciousness. Fuck that. Let's throw that out the door. For the sake of you going to jail. It's like, no, you can't convince me to do something when I know I'm going to go to jail behind it. How can they convince you? This guy let me tell you, he's got a talent. He's got a talent. And he will try to push that in there. But the real thing is what he reveals, what Donald Trump reveals in our legal system and in the core of who we are as a nation, is not only the fact that this wasn't about economy, this was about prejudice, racism, homophobia, xenophobia. Okay, that's what this shit was, and misogyny. This is what that was about. I didn't want to vote for that black and Indian woman married to the Jew was the issue. I didn't want the brown people to come up on me because they outworking me, whether they be brown Mexicans working in low wage jobs, or whether it be the brown Indian people who are coming in getting the high paying jobs. That's why they're mad over this whole H-1 visa, because the brown people and the Asians are getting those H-1B visas, and the reason they want them in is because they can lowball them and the whole industry. They're playing the game, and the people who sat there and voted for this shit thought that they would be great again and kick them out. No, they don't care about you, idiot. That's the thing that we don't open up and talk about. What we don't talk about enough is the whole core problems that are out in this country. Donald Trump exposes, again, the racism, misogyny, and all of the other stuff that's going on, homophobia, xenophobia, prejudice. But he also exposes something really important, and I want people on the left to understand. He exposes how much you don't know about the history, operation, laws of our government. Because if you think he's been getting away with something, you are wrong, brothers and sisters. On top of that, if you think for 1 second that this man is going to walk free, or that his people are going to walk free, whether it be his family or allies, you're wrong. Somebody's going to jail. There's a good chance for him to go to jail through this Epstein stuff and some other things. But even if this wily crocodile sneaks out, and you might believe that, I'm telling you, everybody ain't walking, baby. Everybody ain't walking, and his time's running out, and his people keep getting turned down for every major position because he's illegally inserting them. Let me leave you with this big note. I got smiley-faced the first week, because by that weekend when he became president, after January 20th, that weekend, he fired, 18 inspector generals? Here's the dumb part about the Trump administration. This is how stupid they are. They have the right to fire people. There's 70 inspector generals out there. But here's the problem. You got to give a 30-day notice. And you can fire whoever you want. And they couldn't have said nothing about it. They could say something about it, but there ain't much they could do. He didn't do that. He fired them over the weekend, and they got their jobs back, the ones who wanted their jobs back, and came back. And the problem is the ongoing problem that leads us to this day with Alina Abbas. The reason he's fucking it up is because they're not following the procedures of law. They're not following the rules. They think they're above the rules, or they don't even know the rules. And what I want you to understand in all of this, not only are they not above the rules, but they're getting the rules, boom, brought right back on them. The more they fuck up, the better we win. Facts. Follow me for more, and definitely look at my next video.